Juicy Field's ringleaders finally face trial 2 years after collapse. Leaders of the now notorious cannabis investment scam Juicy Fields are finally being brought to justice 2 years after the company collapsed and hundreds of millions of euros of investors' money were lost. This week, it was revealed that 2 German citizens thought to be at the very top of what is suspected to be a Russian state-sanctioned scam will see charges brought against them by the Berlin Public Prosecutor's Office. This follows a long and complex investigation by both international police services, including Europol and Eurojust, as well as an in-depth deep dive into the company by a team of journalists. While prosecutions are continuing across multiple countries, the vast majority of the 645 million euros invested into the scheme remains lost, and victims remain unlikely to receive any compensation. Juicy Fields, an alleged cannabis investment platform, collapsed in July 2022, revealing what is now known as a massive fraud operation with at least 645 million invested worldwide. This is in euros, but at today's exchange rate, 1 euro equals $1.06, so the dollar figures are pretty much identical. Investors were promised large returns on virtual cannabis plantations, but when suspicions arose, it became clear that funds had vanished. The fallout exposed a network of largely Russian individuals using false identities and fake passports. Now, according to a new report published by an international team of journalists, Russian-German Viktor Bittner and a German count who calls himself Friedrich Ulrich Graf von Luxemburg are set to be charged. In April 2024, large-scale raids on suspects in the Juicy Fields Ponzi scheme led to significant asset seizures and arrests across 11 countries. Over 400 law enforcement officers carried out 38 searches, seizing in total 4.7 million in bank accounts, 1.5 million in cryptocurrencies, 106,000 in cash, and 2.6 million in real estate. Additional luxury items, including cars and artwork, were confiscated, along with numerous electronic devices and documents, aiding the investigation into one of Europe's largest cannabis-related fraud cases. Months later, the Office of the Attorney General secured a ruling authorizing the extradition of Russian citizen Sergei Berezin to Spain, following a request from Spanish authorities to prosecute Berezin for aggravated fraud, money laundering, and membership in a criminal organization. He is now believed to be mastermind behind this scheme. Speaking to the business of cannabis, Eurojust, which was instrumental in coordinating the international case against Juicy Fields, said that this was the first case they have dealt with where legal cannabis was involved. In the case of Juicy Fields, it was clear from the outset that many countries were involved, so it took time to get a clear overview. Eurojust staff, national members, their assistants, and my direct colleagues in operations all worked to set up coordination efforts, such as central coordination centers or coordination meetings. In this case, we established a joint investigation team, which is the most comprehensive tool for international cooperation. A JIT allows investigators from one country to work actively in another and enables automatic sharing of evidence and information. Shady details emerged from the new report. Following conversations with witnesses, former employees, and experts, the team of reporters has managed to uncover new details behind the network and structure of the operation, including ties to the Russian mafia. The story begins in Berlin, where Juicy Fields operated out of a small office. Initially, the company projected a successful cannabis venture with a frontman named Viktor Bittner, who has ties to Russian organized crime. Bittner was a pawn, later accused by Juicy Fields' leaders of stealing 1.5 million. This led the company's head of security, Igor Kekshin, to pursue Bittner. The directive escalated to a murder order, allegedly from Berezin, Juicy Fields' suspected mastermind. Bittner fled, and Kekshin later became a witness against Juicy Fields, providing testimony to European authorities. Kekshin, who had previously worked for the Wagner Group after serving a prison sentence for kidnapping and extortion, told investigators he knew Juicy Fields was a fraudulent scheme from the start, designed to take investors' money without fulfilling the promised investments. Research into Juicy Fields reveals an organized structure with Berezin and Vitaly Markovich at the top, managing a network of individuals involved in money laundering, social media, and banking. Markovich remains a free man despite an arrest warrant being issued during the April international raids. Russia has refused to cooperate with the international investigation and will not extradite him for its alleged involvement. It's also revealed that some individuals raised funds from criminal groups in St. Petersburg to finance the fraudulent operation. As previously reported by Business of Cannabis, experts believe such large-scale fraud would require political protection, and Russian secret services likely turned a blind eye to those operations, which might even serve political purposes, such as generating chaos or gathering intelligence. In 2021, the company underwent structural changes. Berlin-based Juicy Grow GmbH acquired a 20% stake in a Swiss company, which was renamed Juicy Fields AG, and several individuals with noble titles joined the board. Among them was Friedrich Ulrich Graf von Luxemburg. In the summer of 2022, criminal investigators began focusing on the German businessmen and managers from the Luxemburg Karelath Group in conjunction with Juicy Fields, including von Luxemburg, who claimed to be a victim and blamed the Russian masterminds behind the operation. However, investigators view these claims as defensive. Despite fabricating his noble lineage, he used the title to gain social leverage. He spent 9 years in prison for previous fraud schemes, including selling non-existent investments in a fake bank and a non-existent wind turbine company. After Juicy Fields collapsed in August 2022, the police raided von Luxemburg's office and villa, uncovering $349,000 in cash, as well as evidence of international financial dealings in places like Venezuela and Switzerland. Authorities believe von Luxemburg acted as a money launderer for the Juicy Fields operation, potentially receiving up to $5 million for his role. Investigators traced the money flows from Juicy Fields through large international networks involving more than 50 companies across 20 countries, with funds funneled through Cyprus, Lithuania, Malta, and Estonia before being split into cryptocurrency and dissipated. The ISX bank involved in these transactions is under scrutiny for its potential role in money laundering. Meanwhile, financial analysis revealed suspicious crypto transactions leading to Garantex, a Moscow-based exchange with ties to criminal and terrorist financing, which is sanctioned in the USA. There are also reported connections between Garantex and the Russian government. It's believed that some of the remaining funds were used by Berezin and his partner to purchase properties in Tenerife and invest in local cannabis clubs. The Juicy Fields case continues to unravel with bizarre twists, many of which seem to be calculated moves by the masterminds to confuse and distract authorities and the media. In late 2023, a series of attacks were made against the former Juicy Fields CEO von Luxemburg, including the arson of his car and the graffiti message reading, "From Russia with Love." Despite these intimidation efforts, the investigation is moving forward. Public prosecutor Ina Kinder is focusing on key suspects like Victor Bittner and Friedrich von Luxemburg, seeking to keep the case manageable and avoid unnecessary complexity. Meanwhile, Sergei Berezin remains in prison, awaiting his trial in Spain. The headline is, Juicy Fields ringleaders finally face trial 2 years after collapse. My take, this reads like exciting crime caper fiction. What a story. I hope the victims get some restitution, but the moral of the story for investors is, if it sounds too good to be true, it is. If someone claims to hold the title of nobility, maybe that's a red flag that should prompt skepticism and deeper due diligence. This is Omar Figueroa, lawyer, publisher, and Ganjier instructor, reporting from Sonoma County, California, the traditional territory of the Pomo, Miwok, and Wapo nations, for High at 9, high noon Eastern.
Man,
What a story.
yeah, right. Man,
the thing that caught my ear the most was they were talking about having the approval of the FSB, the security service in Russia, the domestic intelligence agency, and the Wagner Group, who is the mercenary army that Putin has been using to carry out operations in North Africa and Ukraine, whose leader was just killed, assassinated in a plane crash a few months ago trying to fly back to Moscow. This is a
juicy story, right?
This is nice. I like it. I mean, obviously not the result of it and people being scammed out of their money, but man, what a juicy story.
Wow. What do you have to say?
Why didn't people do more due diligence here? I mean, that's the question I have. Even in the States, I've had clients who got into investment roles, took money from people, and when it comes out that they are previously prosecuted and they were enjoined from ever being involved in any business as an officer and director, and you go, well, how'd this happen? Well, I don't know, because their history seems to be readily obtainable. And it's irritating to watch people get duped into things. But then when you ask them a couple of questions that investors should be asking, and the dumb look on their faces, well, what? You're going to go spend your money on something, give money to a guy who spent 7 years in prison for fraud, and he's telling you, I'm related to German nobility, please give me money. And the answer is, what the fuck are you smoking, man? Come on.
I mean, the same reason why they do it here, Dale, is like people don't do their due diligence. They get caught with a quick little teaser deck and $1 million, and they get Scrooge McDuck eyes, and they're like, okay, cool, here's my checkbook.
I mean, I will say, it may potentially in their defense, when you have the support of a foreign intelligence service and one of the largest mercenary armies on the planet, I'm sure that details were obfuscated and concealed from them. I'm not going to sit here and pretend like everything was just obvious to everyone involved. I'm sure there was a lot of obfuscation.
Are you saying that there was
I'm sure a Google search would reveal quite a few things, right?
Are you saying there was a Russia disinformation campaign in regards to this?
Yeah, they would never do that, right?
Man.
They'll never do that.
They never would.
Russia, if it's some interesting videos that Putin's putting out lately.
What do you think about this, Rico? You love to follow the money.
It's super juicy. You know what I'm saying?
That's it. That's all you got, huh?
It is. It's super juicy.
You must know something if that's all you have to say about this one.
They are definitely smoking that THCA flower.
Everyone loves some THCA flower, man.
Spray packs for all.
Spray packs for all. Yeah. Weed for the people, you guys. Man,
yes,
oh man. Man, well, on that, I guess, man, this is such a juicy story, Omar. Thank you so much for bringing this to our attention. And
keep us updated on that one.
Yeah, definitely. Let's keep following this along.
Cannot wait.
I'm sure there's going to be more juice to squeeze out of this one. And on that, we're going to roll into a commercial, and we're going to be right back.
Drip, drip.
Mm-hmm.